You can always rely on the French to take something quite simple, complicate it a little bit, and give it a really cool name. And that's pretty much what a croque monsieur is. It is basically a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. They add bechamel to it to make it really gooey and yummy and tasty. And that's what we're going to do. We're not going to make a bechamel. I'm going to show you a cheats way to make a bechamel, to make our version of a croque monsieur. Normally a croque monsieur requires a bechamel to be made. We're not going to make a bechamel. I'm going to use ricotta in replacement of our bechamel. So about a half a cup of ricotta into a bowl. It has the same consistency as a nice thick bechamel. A heaped teaspoon of our mustard powder, of Keen's mustard powder, and with that, nice pinch of salt, a little crack of pepper as well. You could add in other spices if you want to, nutmeg, cinnamon, if you want to go down that sort of, bechamels have normally got nutmeg in them. I'm not a huge fan of nutmeg, so I'm not going to put it in there. So mix that in. And that, my friends, is our bechamel. Now, if you had your cheese, your Gruyere, whatever, you could grate it into there as well. And it's a sort of a one-stop shop with your spread on top of your piece of toast. I'm going to do one side, I'm going to coat in the bechamel, the ricotta. The other side, I'm going to coat in the cheese, and the ham will go in the middle. So cut our bread. I'm going to butter one side. And then I'm going to fry that side in our griddle pan, so I can turn my griddle pan on. A bit of butter. So one side will be nice and crunchy, the other side I want to be soft, which again is that whole idea of a croque monsieur. So buttered side down. You're going to get some grill marks on that. Once we've got some grill marks on that, it's nice and crunchy on one side. We'll take it out, we'll put ricotta on one side. I'm using a Havarti cheese because I love Havarti. I'm going to blowtorch them to get them to melt a little bit. Ham in between, put them back together, back in the pan, or you can put it on a roasting tray and into the oven for about 10 minutes so that that cheese and ricotta melts and you get this really soft, crunchy on the outside but soft in the middle. And in Leroux's Gastronomique, which is like the Bible of cooking, it says it needs to be white bread with the crust cut off. I love the crust on a sourdough, and I love sourdough, which is why I'm using it. If you were sticking to tradition, you'd make a bechamel, it'd be white bread with the crust cut off, and you'd use Gruyere. We're tweaking it a little bit here to make my version. But as I said, it's just a fancy ham and cheese toasty. I just went and called it something fancy. Croque monsieur. Taking my bread out, I've got some nice crunchy outsides, which is what I want. As I said, a croque monsieur is about crunch and then soft, gooey, oozy goodness on the inside. So I'll turn them over because they're now the outside of our sandwich. On one side, I'm going to put this ricotta mix and just sort of smear a good amount of that on. Havarti on the other side. You can use Gruyere if you want. I just love Havarti. I love the way it melts and I love the way that it sort of bubbles and blackens. And then I'm just going to blowtorch. Now, if you don't have a blowtorch, what's wrong with you? Why don't you? Is what I would say to you. Blowtorches are great, but if you don't have a blowtorch, you can put this under the grill and just sort of, you're trying to not blacken, but get some brown, some color on top of these. I'm going to do it with the blowtorch. Oh, wouldn't you have one? So I'm just going to char this up a bit. Oh, it's that smell and that of the toasted sandwich you used to have when you were a kid and you come home from school, when you first got introduced to toasted sandwiches. Now you want a big amount of ham on top of your bechamel in excess. So remember, the French always do it in excess. Pop your lid on, squash it down. Then I'm going to pop it on an oven tray. Pop it into the oven, and now you're just trying to get everything else to become sort of gooey and cooked. So into an oven, 5 to 10 minutes until it's oozing down the sides and you can see little dots of it on your baking paper, and then you're done. If you're looking at that thinking they multiplied in the oven, they didn't. I made another one. The story I like about these is a story that a French worker made a normal ham and cheese sandwich, went to work, sat his ham and cheese sandwich next to a radiator while he was working in an apartment. It was so close to the radiator that everything melted. When he got to the sandwich, he thought, I'll eat it anyway, and it turned out being quite nice. I like that story. That's a good one.